Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome all back to Dominant Mets Nation, Offseason Central, episode 22, and we have our daily dose of that Juan Soto update. The Juan Soto rumors are becoming rampant. In the last 2 weeks, he's been going to Toronto, the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Mets. Every team has essentially been the favorites. And how can I forget those Dodgers? So, you know what? What does it mean now? If you look at the latest reports, that would have you thinking that it's either the Red Sox or now you're hearing the Toronto Blue Jays. Those Blue Jays are going to have the highest offer. Well, folks, we got to go over a couple details because I hear some worry and panic in the voices and the thoughts of Mets fans and even Yankee fans. I have my clear opinion of where I think Juan Soto will wind up, but you know, you can't really go by what's in the news right now. You can't, because if you follow the stories like I have, they don't make sense. They don't make sense at all. And if we start from where the free agency started and you go with your initial instincts, what Juan Soto put out there, he wants the most money. He wants to go to a winner. He wants to go to a team that is committed to winning. He wants to go to a team that basically he can trust. There basically is one or two places he can go. One or two places he can go. And now, this part of the free agency time, or in the beginning of free agents, you hear that Juan Soto is basically focused on the Red Sox or the Blue Jays. You're not hearing about the Mets. You're not hearing about the Yankees. Is that by design, or is Juan Soto actually strongly contemplating going to the Red Sox? Well, folks, let's get into those details because honestly, I'll tell you this. When I heard the Mets were front runners last week, I was a bit concerned because I know how Scott Boras likes to use his media, his friends in the media, his pals, his writers. He feeds them different stories and articles and this and that, and he tries to put a certain message, a certain narrative out there. And that narrative is usually, basically geared toward getting Juan Soto the most amount of money possible, right? The most amount of money possible. So the recent news is now you hear the Blue Jays, according to Andy Martino, good old Andy, reported on Monday that there is widespread belief that the Toronto Blue Jays will have the highest offer for Mr. Juan Soto. Jim Duquette of MLB Network says you cannot rule out the Blue Jays. I've heard from many people that they think Toronto is going to be the high bidder. I mean, honestly, I don't know what that is based on. Is it basically based on what they offered Ohtani? Is it just a swing in the dark? Because we know Cohen is the richest owner in all of baseball. Is this just fodder to make other teams like the Yankees and the Mets bid up more? Because I think at this point in the bidding, I put Toronto as the number 4 or 5th team. That's where I put Toronto. I don't think they have what Juan Soto is looking for. Juan Soto is looking for long-term, sustainable success and consistency. They don't have their best player of Vladdy Guerrero Jr. even locked up for the future. He's not even locked up. They don't have a Bichette locked up either. So their two best players, they don't even have locked up. Toronto doesn't have a solidified future. Even if they were able to give a lot of money to Juan Soto, it's quite possible that they would have to be rebuilding in 2 or 3 years. Plus, their farm is not ranked highly. They don't have many prospects, really highly touted prospects on the horizon. So the Blue Jays make no sense, unless you're going to give an ungodly amount of money that is more than the next contract. I don't see the Blue Jays. So the fact that you see the Blue Jays in the news right now on Monday and Tuesday this week just tells me what I already said. Scott Boras is using the Blue Jays, the news of the Blue Jays, and trying to scare teams like the Yankees and the Mets by saying, oh, the Blue Jays will have the highest offer. Well, is that, and then if you break it down even further, the Yankees were never even rumored to ever have the highest offer. There was never going to be on the table. So I think this is more of a direct shot at Steve Cohen, because Steve Cohen and the Mets were always the team that is rumored to have the high offer. So I think this is good news, Mets fans. The Mets have not been in the news cycle the last couple of days. You know, last week, in the middle of the week, yeah, there were a lot of MLB executives saying that the Mets are the front runners and the Mets are in the driver's seat. Now you don't hear anything about the Mets. Why is that, folks? I think it's just so that we can use teams like the Blue Jays and use teams like the Red Sox to drive up the asking price for other teams. Right. And even last week, I heard a lot of people saying that the Mets are in the news. The Red Sox are in the news, but the Yankees, they weren't in the news. They weren't in the news. So the Yankees were probably the team he was interested in, and the Red Sox and the Mets, those were the teams being used in the media to drive up the price for the Yankees. But then you had that odd report on Saturday that I think Randy Myers from NewJersey.com, NJ.com, he reported that the Yankees weren't going over $550 million. So there are a lot of reports out there. I don't know exactly. Nobody knows what's exactly true. Nobody knows what's exactly true. So what I'm trying to say is, if you're a Mets fan, since there are a lot of confirmed false reports that have been reported in the last 2 weeks, why would you all of a sudden trust all of the current reporting when the current reporting is probably meant to deceive you or meant to prod teams like the Mets to give more money? I don't believe in this reporting. Now, if you move on to the Red Sox, I put them as probably the number 3 team, because, you hear that he grew up idolizing David Ortiz, idolizing Pedro Martinez, Manny Ramirez. They all played, they were all from the Dominican Republic, and it seems like that means a lot to Mr. Juan Soto. Now, in my opinion, does money and winning mean more than playing in a place where your heroes played? I think yes. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. If you were telling me David Ortiz and Pedro Martinez were currently on the Red Sox, I would have a whole different belief. But it's not even close. David Ortiz is not on the Red Sox. He's not on the Red Sox. And you are hearing a lot of things about the Red Sox in recent news. The most recent reports is you heard Juan Soto's girlfriend was looking for places to buy real estate in the Boston area. Well, folks, that's part of the process. If that's true, that's part of the process. Usually, if Juan Soto is interested in New York, if he's interested in Boston, if he's interested in LA, typically he will look at the real estate, housing in all of those markets. If that's true, that's perfectly normal. Perfectly normal. In fact, you do that so you can compare and contrast what the homes and the houses are in all of the respective markets. So I don't really take that story with any, grain of salt. I really don't. Okay. So again, let's go over this. So again, there are plenty of reasons to doubt reports claiming that Boston has made an offer to Soto and is negotiating with his agent. any leaked information at this time of year is going to come from Boris's side of things. Boris is the one who wants as hot of a market as possible, folks. Remember that. Boris is the one who is leaking this information. If you are seeing, again, the Toronto Blue Jays, the Boston Red Sox, again, he wants the Yankees to bid more money, the Mets to bid more money. Any leaked information is coming on that side. All right. And one of the easiest way is to convince Steve Cohen and Hal Steinbrenner that they're losing a bidding war to Boston. I mean, like, seriously, I don't think anybody wants to lose to Boston. I think Steve Cohen doesn't want to lose to John Henry, the owner of the Boston Red Sox, and Hal Steinbrenner certainly doesn't want to lose to Boston. I think it scares. I really do think it scares the Yankees more to lose Juan Soto to the Boston Red Sox than to the New York Mets, by far. And if Boris really wanted to get, a rumor mill started, right? Let's just say it was a really truth serum rumor. Why wouldn't he use reputable writers like Pat Passon, John Heyman, or Rosenthal, trusted names in the business with hundreds of thousands of followers, rather than Randy Miller? I mean, you got guys making all these reports that really are, they get it wrong like more than 50% of the time. So that's another thing. If Jeff Passan was reporting all of this news, I would take it with a lot more credibility. Yeah, and just to confirm, the two reporters who had the deals of Soto going to Boston was Mike Rodriguez. He thinks that Boston conveyed a deal of 12 years, 600 million, and Hector Gomez went 13 years, 625 million. So those two reporters are the reporters who had those reports of Soto going to Boston. All right, folks. So at the end of the day, Toronto Blue Jays, high offer, high bidder, BS. BS right now, BS. And even if they did have the high offer with taxes and the fact that they do not have a solidified future, their offer would have to be monumental, right? So I think, in my opinion, I still put the Red Sox at number 3, and I put the Toronto Blue Jays at number 4. So now let's talk about Mr. Jack Curry. He's a reporter for the New York Yankees, and he had a very significant report yesterday about, I would say, the biggest threat to the New York Mets. And maybe I shouldn't say threat, because Juan Soto is actually on the Yankees, and if Juan Soto signed anywhere else, the only team it really hurts is the Yankees. So the Mets would actually be the threat. But the Yankees and the Juan Soto update came from Mr. Jack Curry, and let's go over that right now. All right, folks. So what is going on in Yankee land with regards to Juan Soto? And that's very important because that affects the New York Mets chances of signing Juan Soto. Okay, so the Soto sweepstakes really, are kind of nearing a dramatic conclusion, because all thoughts is that he is going to sign by the winter meetings. The winter meetings are next week, so essentially in a couple of days. He could be signed. He could be signed. All right. So Jack Curry basically says the Yankees are making it clear that they will not let the 26-year-old superstar slip away, which, really, that report I keep going back to that report on Saturday, which is such big BS. All right, so Curry dropped a significant update yesterday night. He gave his insight into the Yankees' ongoing negotiations with the Soto camp. And let's just say this, it sounds like the Bronx, again, is hoping to keep him long term. Now, according to Curry, the Yankees' discussions with Soto have been good, and they feel comfortable, signaling that both sides are on the same page about what this partnership could look like. The kicker, Curry, confidently stated that the deal Soto ultimately signs will surpass Shohei Ohtani's record-breaking contract. Yes, folks, that's right. The Yankees are ready to give Soto a deal that will redefine the market, and frankly, it's about time. Wow, wow. If that's true, that is news. That is news, and that directly contradicts the news from Saturday night saying the Yankees are only going up to 550. So it is just, this is why, you can't take news serious unless you see Soto sign on the dotted line. You can't take Soto serious about going to Boston, about going to the Blue Jays, because if the Yankees are really serious about going over $700 million, folks, that is a serious and very important threat to the New York Mets. So, in quotations, the Yankees have had several productive conversations and have exchanged multiple offers. They have been very comfortable with the process and presentation they've had with Soto. They've made it a priority and sent him the message they want him back. Ohtani's $700 million payday set the standard, but Soto, 26 years old, coming off a season where he matched 41 homers and had an 8.1 wins above replacement, is the type of player who justifies every penny of that contract. He's not just a bat, folks. He's a player that you build around for a decade. And again, Jack Curry also notes he believes that this whole saga will end within 7 to 10 days. 7 to 10 days. Now, I mean, the thing about Soto going back to the Bronx, and this is where it gets pretty tricky. If Soto goes back to the Bronx, where is the flexibility of the Yankees? What flexibility of the Yankees? They don't have much money available. They're right by that $300 million luxury tax line. They are right there. And this is why I was actually really disappointed with the New York Mets. If you're trying to sell Juan Soto, they signed Frankie Montas yesterday. And I know they could do a lot more, but here's the deal. If you're Juan Soto and you're looking to go to a team that is ready to win now, the Mets have no pitching staff. Signing Frankie Montas, to me, he's a 4 or number 5. He's not a guy that will entice a superstar saying, oh, look, this team is serious. No, it's not it. So, I mean, that's what kind of worries me. We have no rotation right now to speak of. Kodai Senga, our best player, was injured all of last year. David Peterson, who looked good as of late, only pitched good 3 months basically in his whole career at least at that high level. So I mean, it's just that if you want to show Soto that you are a team that's dead serious, that is another reason why I wasn't really so enamored by the Frankie Montas signing. I mean, like, if you go to a place, you got to go to a place where they have legit pitching. And, I know you could point to last year, oh, the Mets had good pitching, but Sean Manaea was a huge part of that. Sean Manaea, where is he? He's not going to be here. Luis Severino was a huge part of that. Where is he? Not going to be here. Even Quintana, if you're telling me Frankie Montas is going to replace Quintana, and that's been the belief as of late, and, I could buy that a little bit more. But Quintana down the stretch from August 25th on into the second round of the playoffs was a beast, folks. One of the best pitchers in all of baseball. And then Frankie Montas down the stretch, he was plain old mediocre with a close to 5 ERA. I mean, it's all about mentality with these pitchers. That's what it's about, mentality. So that brings us up to our last part of the video. Which pitchers are we currently targeting? And there has been a lot of rumors and circulation that the two pitchers the Mets have been focusing on are Walker Buehler and Clay Holmes from the New York Yankees. And those are pretty interesting names. Let me start off with Walker Buehler. Walker Buehler is a guy who started off his career and, up until recently, up until he got hurt, was one of the best pitchers in all of baseball. He was a guy that this coming free agent period was looking for those mega contracts, but he got hurt. Struggled this whole year, but in the playoffs, he started showing flashes. Now, his fastball tailed off a couple miles per hour. His curveball, if you remember in the playoffs, was nasty. You saw the movement, and you saw how he was getting his confidence back. He was improving. This is a guy, Walker Buehler, that has a high ceiling. Now, it depends, I guess, on the price tag, but this is a guy that I would take a chance for in the middle to end of your rotation. I would take a chance. Would I sign him to be a number one or a two? No, I wouldn't. Why, you ask? Because the Mets have put themselves in a position in 2025 where they supposedly position themselves to be a World Series contender. Now, if you're going to contend with the likes of rotations where, you have the Dodgers, the Braves rotation, Chris Sale, they're always good at building the rotation. The Phillies rotation, they have a pretty solid rotation. There's a lot of teams in the National League. The Padres rotation, there are a lot of rotations right now that look heads and shoulders better than the Mets. Heads and shoulders better than the Mets. So the Mets have to put numbers together. They need at least two top echelon pitchers. And then if you want to sign a Walker Buehler as your third option. But I said going into this offseason that the Mets need four starting pitchers. Four. Kodai Senga, not reliable. Tyler McGill never was reliable. And David Peterson just came on as of late. Essentially, nobody was available in the starting rotation. Blackburn, I'm not counting on him coming off of an injury. Jose Butto, yes, he's an option to be in the starting rotation, but we're a stronger team with him coming out of the bullpen. So that being said, there's not much in the starting rotation. You signed Frankie Montas. I still believe we need three more starting pitchers. If you sign a Walker Buehler, then you need two more starting pitchers. Clay Holmes has been a weapon for the Yankees. Very nice pitcher. He's a guy that there were rumors that the Mets or another team would look to start him. So, I mean, you know what? I don't mind teams getting creative. I don't mind the Mets getting creative. We saw teams do that. KC, the Padres do that with the likes of Seth Lugo. It's worked out great. Clay Holmes, if he's a reliever right now, you could sign him and put him in the starting rotation. You could probably get him for a value contract. You could probably get him for a price that's not really conducive to his true value. So if you could sign a Buehler, a Holmes, that's two more starting rotation pieces. And then I want that ace. I want that Corbin Burnes. We need that ace. And if you don't want to trade for the ace, if you don't think Corbin Burnes is worth the money, that's when David Stearns has to go, put on his big point pants, and show why he gets paid $11 million a year and why he's supposedly one of the best baseball minds out there. Make a trade for an ace. Other teams always do it. Padres always aggressively make moves to fill the rotation needs, to fill the team needs. Padres always do it, always are aggressive. The Braves, when they needed an ace last year, they went out and got Chris Sale to a masterful contract. They made Boston eat half the contract, and they have Chris Sale for multiple years. I think they're paying him like $13 million. That was insane. And that happened last December. So there are deals out there to be had. You just have to get creative, think outside the box. Other teams are doing it. The Dodgers, always creative. The Dodgers are always looking to get better. Always. From years ago, from when they got Scherzer and Trey Turner from the Nationals, Mookie Betts, the Dodgers always make the moves and always replenish their farm system. The Mets, if they want to be seen in that light, they got to start being a lot more aggressive and creative. So that's just my quick take. That's my quick rundown. What do you think? Like, subscribe. Let me know. I love to hear what your opinion is. And let's go Mets. Remember, don't get too down. There's nothing definitive out there as of now on Mr. Juan Soto. I will speak to you all very, very soon. Have a great day.